What's up, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Seth, and today we are going to be taking a first look at ARK Survival Evolved Man vs. Dinosaur. Now, you're going to want to ignore all of this stuff at the top here. I actually had a file that I was just testing and stuff like that, and ended up getting killed by a raptor so that I could start a new character and just kind of show you a little bit that this game actually has customization to your character that's pretty cool, but also kind of grotesque, isn't it? Give him a tiny little neck. No thank you. But I just wanted to show you a little bit of that, and let's just create our new survivor and jump right into the game. I personally don't really know that much about this game. This game kind of just came out of nowhere for me. Unfortunately, it's nighttime for this video, so that's a little bit disappointing because the nighttime takes quite a while before it goes away. But anyway, you just spawn out in the world like this. You are cold, you need to find some warmth. It's one of these survival games. So, of course, you're gonna notice on the bottom right corner is pretty much all of our meters. Now, if we go to our inventory, you can see all these meters in depth. So there's food, water, oxygen is just when you're swimming, stamina is when you're sprinting, and his health will just go down when you take damage, of course. If you are maximum food, or at least really high on your food, it will regenerate health. There is also his maximum weight, melee damage, movement, speed, fortitude, and all sorts of beautiful, wonderful survival type things. So as soon as you end up going out into the world, which we can go to third person, although it's not really viable, this game, of course, I do want to point out, as we go out into the world, look at that beautifulness. Look at that! Little bit of frame rate ticks there, though, just because I don't know if it's, there's probably something I could mess around with in the settings because my computer is actually quite powerful. This is primarily a multiplayer game, of course, because you can play this with all sorts of wonderful, amazing people, but they can also kill you. And for the sake of this first look, we are just playing offline, just playing locally, of course, which means that you can play locally with your friends too, which is pretty cool. Those things over in the distance, by the way, those are kind of like, let's say it's a supply crate. So you can actually run up to them, but if you're not the appropriate level, you are not going to be able to get them. Now, even though, yes, it's multiplayer and we're playing offline, if you go over to these bushes, this is one of the big fundamental things that took me actually hours to figure out, is if you go over to the bushes and you just start pressing the use button, he starts taking all the berries from them. You can also gather, not that one per se, but you can gather stones off of the ground and stuff like that. Pretty much all of these bushes that stand out are going to be ones that you can gather berries as well as fiber and other resources from them. And then when you're starting out, you're going to need some wood. So how do you do that? Punch a tree. It's the caveman days, so why not, right? It also hurts him though, because as you'll see, our health in the bottom right is taking a little bit of damage. The tree falls over though, absolutely beautiful. I love that. They seem to respawn. I've never seen one actually respawn in my face, but I have seen them respawn whenever I died and start a new character, because this world is extremely deadly, and what separates it from other survival games is the fact that it's got dinosaurs, and it's beautifully wonderful. Now, as far as I can tell, this whole world, for the most part, seems to all be, it's already all pre-made, but there are certain spawn points and locations of certain monsters which seems to be a little bit random while also being very common. So for example, down there, I already know that that is one of those spitting dinosaurs, you know, from Jurassic Park 1, the acid spitting guy. I know that that is one of those down there. Oh my goodness, that is a gigantic shark. But, oh, there's a lot of them. That's scary. I don't like sea creatures, man. Freaks me out. But I know that that is a spitter Pokemon. Yes, let's call it that, because I've been down there and I've tangled with that exact same one multiple times, and it looks like, I think that's a Triceratops way in front of us, I'm not sure. Some of the dinosaurs, of course, are hostile, while other ones are, I wouldn't call it friendly, but until you attack them, they will attack you. And I don't think we're going to get to touch upon it in this first look, because we are playing single player, because normally you can create a tribe with multiple people. Let's just knock down this tree because we need to gather more resources. You can create a tribe with multiple people, and the reason that's cool is because you can set up encampments and stuff like that where you can store all your loot and stuff, because this game's kind of hardcore. If you end up dying, you pretty much lose everything in your inventory, except for things that are placed down in the world. Like if you have a house that you made and you put like a chest or something, I'm pretty sure that's where your supplies can stay. All the plants, for the most part, seem to respawn, like I was saying earlier, but I've never actually seen them respawn. The other thing, too, that we are definitely not going to touch upon because I never got into it yet is you can actually build saddles to ride all the multiple different dinosaurs in this game, including pterodactyls and stuff. I mean, there's already an amazing trailer for this game out there that most people probably already know about. Now, you will have noticed there that we actually leveled up. You just level up passively, as far as I can tell, just from doing pretty much everything. Killing enemies, gathering resources. I think enemies makes it go up the fastest, but I can't really confirm that 100%. But that seems to be the brunt of the game as you're trying to level up, because every time you level up, you can give yourself an extra stat point, as well as here, the engram. This is the prime... This is prime time, baby. This is the main spot of everything in the game. So what you end up getting out of here is you're unlocking recipes, pretty much. So you can unlock this campfire, and you can use it to keep yourself warm. You can also cook meat on it instead of eating raw meat. You can get a hatchet, which of course chops down trees a lot faster. I think we default start with a mining pick, and I have actually noticed, for the sake of right now, let's just get the hatchet and let's get the spear, and hopefully we'll be able to construct those right away. All these other things that we can craft and stuff, of course, come, as you can see, like required level 20, and then it requires higher and higher amounts of engram points until, yeah, it gets pretty pricey. So anyway, let's make ourselves a pickaxe. Because I want to show you this. This is an interesting part of this game that I ended up figuring out, which I think is very, very cool. Now, if you use a pickaxe, I like that little flip animation. Say you use it on a tree, you are going to get a crap ton of thatch. Now, if you use an axe on a tree, you're going to get wood. So it's pretty cool that the game actually has different resources. Like, you're going to get more of a certain type of resource depending on the tool that you're going to be using. I don't want to go over to that spitter that's over there. I know he's going to spit in my eye and kill me. But I want to at least go and find... Hopefully we don't die over here, because I know there's another raptor around here as well. Where is that little guy? I don't want to get attacked. But anyway, you can use a pickaxe on rocks. And I actually really love this fact of the game, that you can actually destroy trees and rocks and they just disintegrate like that and just get out of the way. Really, really cool. I like how it just explodes. It's very over the top. But if you use an axe on the stones, you're going to get different resources. So it's a way that the game does a good job making the player use multiple resources, you know? Let's see. Yes, we can make ourselves an axe. Perfect. What are we going to need? We're going to need some wood for our spear. So that is great as well, because we are almost at that. Also, if you want to end up using berries and stuff, you can just put them on your hotbar, but otherwise I just go onto them and use them. Also, it has a fancy meter where it shows you when the food spoils. And there are certain complexities to this game, of course. Any of these survival games has it. But right here, for example, these berries make you very sleepy, so you don't want to eat the black berries. But apparently, I saw in one of the tips that you can use them to knock out other big animals and stuff like that. So I've never gotten to that point. Because that's one thing I would definitely say about this game, is that the gameplay itself... See, now we're getting a crap ton more wood, right? Instead of the thatch. The gameplay itself seems to be fairly slow-paced, but that is also taking into the fact that I have only ever played this game offline. So I'm guessing if you were playing online with a whole group of people and stuff like that, it would probably, like, the character progression would probably be a lot faster and a lot easier, because you wouldn't have to mine for all the resources yourself, right? Especially when you form a tribe and stuff like that. Now, little thing that I forget if I mentioned, but if you're playing online, that's the other thing too. I think in the options you can set it up so you can only fight like all the dinosaurs and stuff, but otherwise it's one of those more hardcore survival type games where you can actually verse other players. So we could potentially run into another player, knock them out, and steal all their goodies. You could break into their house and steal all their goodies. It's kind of very similar to all those, you know, there's a million of these games out there. Let's see, can we make ourselves a spear? Yes, we can. Now, spears are very, very cool because they not only are quite powerful. Let's make ourselves a torch too, just so I can show that off. But at the same time, it being a spear, it's going to break. So it even says that there is a chance that it is going to break on an enemy. So watch out for that. You can also, which I'm not going to do right now, Is there an enemy around here? I'm not going to do it right now because I don't want to lose our spear, but if we would hold right click, we can actually get his spear ready for a javelin, and as soon as you let go of his right click, he'll throw it into the enemy, and it actually looks beautiful because I love the fact that it actually, like, he throws it and it sticks out of the enemy, so really, really cool. Now, I want to see if we can find something around here that we can actually kill, because I have a pretty good idea about all these starting enemies and stuff like that. Now, of course, too, you're going to notice that we are sticking to the outer edge of the island, because as soon as you go into the inner part of the island, it gets a lot deadlier. There is also those artifacts that you can kind of see around. There's a little bit of a mystery to this game. So I don't know if it's got anything to do with aliens or anything like that. I don't know exactly, but I actually I played a couple hours of this just off camera, just on my own, to get kind of used to the game mechanics and stuff like that. I ended up sneaking my way to that thing. I had to sneak past a T-Rex and all sorts of raptors, and it was very, very deadly at the heart of the island. Anyway, right at the bottom of that big, beautiful spire, I saw a tool that said summon Broodmother. So I'm guessing that that might be like the end game boss or something like that. Maybe there's multiple bosses. I don't know. But it required a crap ton of items that you would have had to collect from other enemies and stuff like that, like T-Rex arms and stuff like that. So this is one of those acid spitters. I don't know if we're going to be able to take him on, which I'm actually noticing right here that we are about to get our level up. You're going to have to get your weapon out of your hand if you want to. If you want to actually gather stones and stuff like that. Let's destroy a tree here. Let's see if we can get our next skill level up, so that we can get a little bit more health before we take that guy on, because he's actually a little bit deadly. Also, that's one of the biggest things about these games, is they have a huge learning curve. So, for example, in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, where I am covering, it's not actually showing right now, but sometimes you'll see like certain icons and passive things that are going on. Like if you see a broken bone, it means your guy's really weak and needs to regenerate, otherwise he can't like run. And then there's also the most common one you're gonna run into is your character getting too cold, and then in order to solve that, you just pull out a torch and it usually keeps you pretty warm, as well as just getting a fireplace. And of course, we don't end up being naked all the time. You can eventually craft clothes. Another thing too that I just want to point out, just as we're kind of hanging out over here, I didn't notice that those turtles actually swim, is that I had it once too. I stole, here's a little story of more off-camera stuff. I wish I got on camera. I stole a Triceratops egg. The mother started following me to the ends of the earth, and I lured it into the water, and sharks started attacking it. So the enemies, like the creatures, can all kind of fight themselves. There's a little bit of an ecosystem going on in this game. Another thing too I want to point out just before we go over here is these spitting enemies, you can take them on. We should be able to take him on without dying, I hope. But those turtles, forget about it, man. They have so much defense. There's no way that you're going to be able to take them on. I was like level 7 on my last character, as you saw at the beginning of the video. And even then, I threw so many spears into one of those turtles, and it just never died. Come here, you freak! Okay, he's level 7, so we're actually probably gonna die. Yep, we're probably gonna die. Oh, never mind. We win. Ah! He has a friend! I shouldn't have thrown that spear into him, but I did. So now we're stuck using our axe, and we're probably gonna die. Come on! Oh, dang it. So I should have kept the spear instead of throwing it, but I panicked a little because of the visual stuff that was going on. But as you saw, if you have a spear, it's actually kind of like a little bit, I guess, realistic as it is to fight dinosaurs. We can also respawn at a random location. I just want to touch upon this right here. Or you can create a new survivor. Either way, we're going to lose all our gear, but we are going to keep our levels. And eventually, too, if you end up crafting a house and a bed, which a bed costs so much to craft, you can craft a sleeping bed, which is a respawn point, but it breaks upon the first use. But then there's a straw bed, which costs a crap ton for you to actually use. Now, anyway, as I was saying about the dinosaurs and stuff like that, realistically, of course, as you saw, the spear had a little bit of knockback to it. It gave us a little bit of range to the enemy, so it was very, very good for us to be able to fight those guys. So I probably could have been able to take them both on if I did it properly, but as you saw, they were both level 7, so that's a little bit deadly. And of course, all our inventory is dead. These are just our hotbar items. They are still here on our hotbar, but we don't actually have them, so we would have to craft them again. Another thing too is when you end up using a pickaxe and say it breaks, you could just see it in your inventory as a broken tool, and then you could actually just double click on it, repair it, and it will automatically craft a new one. So very nice little mechanics and stuff like that. Now, as you can see right here, there are like thatched doors and stuff like that. Here's the sleeping bed, which I'll just show you just as an example how complicated it is to build one of them. Also, you're going to need to, if you are going to be building a house, you're going to need a foundation first. So right now we just have thatch, which I'm guessing is very weak. Other dinosaurs would probably just destroy it. I don't know if other players can destroy it. I can't confirm that because I never played online. But, oh, this is another thing that's very useful is water skin to keep your water. But eventually later along the lines, you're going to end up getting like alchemy kits, wooden recipes and stuff like that. A slingshot is also another thing that's right here. You can kind of see really cool items that are very, very helpful. Well, we can't really craft the water skin right now. We'd have to go and gather some plants and get 4 hides, which means killing monsters. But you would just go into the water and use that, and it fills it up. And then just to show you, the sleeping bag is 25 hides. Now, that is 25 different enemies. The weakest enemy that you can actually come across, as far as I've seen, is a dodo bird. No wonder they're extinct, because they're good meat. Oh, goodness, no! No, 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 no! Forget him! See you later, cheese it! Oh, great, a triceratops. Well, hopefully he's not gonna be too hostile. I don't think he is. But he might protect us from this little dino. The enemies tend to follow you quite far. They don't always follow you to the ends of the earth, but sometimes they do. Sometimes. But anyway, this is also one of those games you have to have a lot of time, just as our closing notes here before we end this first look, because we've already gone long enough. But this game in itself is very time consuming. I'll say that much. Like, it takes a long time to actually progress up to the point where you can kind of handle yourself. I mean, even like I played a couple hours just for kicks to get to level 7. I had a full suit of cloth, which whatever, it protected us a little bit, and I was getting pretty handy with the spears and could kind of take on certain enemies and stuff. I found also that if you fight enemies in the water, you have a pretty good chance of backpedaling and being able to attack them with the spear without them causing any damage. Otherwise, anywhere else, you're pretty much screwed, and you don't want to fight those turtles, like I said. Also, the water is very, very scary because there are giant, and I mean giant, sharks and sea monsters, and just... let's see if we can take a peek at one, because, oh, I hate water enemies so much. Okay, so there's a couple right over there, I think. You can also go fishing, too, if you're lucky enough that there are no monsters around to kill you. Anyway, I'm a little bit freaked out already. I don't know, maybe I got some kind of aquaphobia in real life or something like that. There are also, as you saw landing over there, you might not have because his swimming is so wonky. But there's actually pterodactyls as well. And I know, just based on the trailer, that eventually you can get a saddle and start riding them and stuff like that. They also hint at in the trailer that this game is a little bit ridiculous because there's actually a dragon in this game. There's giant scorpions, there's giant sharks. So I wonder what the creature roster is in total. And I also wonder what the weapon roster is, because I would expect, at least I think that would be really, really cool anyway, if you would end up getting like all sorts of really awesome weaponry or something like that. Maybe if you ended up getting like some alien weaponry or something. I don't know. I'm just saying that it's pretty cool because the fact that this game kind of has its little bit of lore and stuff. Is this an egg right over here? No, that's poop. That's dino poop. You can use that for fertilizer, which I don't know anything about farming. But here's a little dodo, so let's kick its butt. Get out of here, you stupid dodo. Also, you're going to notice decomposing. You can also look in its inventory. There's actually nothing there. But just a key feature, this took me a long time to figure out as well, is you keep attacking it to gather its resources. Yes. So it also, of course, is the same as the using an axe on a tree or rocks, or a pickaxe on a tree or rocks, is you're going to end up getting different resources. So I found if you end up using a spear on a creature's corpse, you're going to get a lot more meat, and then if you use an axe, you're going to get a lot of hides. But anyway, that's long enough for this first look, ladies and gentlemen. I may end up starting a series of this game, depending on what you all think about that. I would love to be playing this game multiplayer. That would be a definite thing that I would definitely do. But as far as the first look, that's it for today. So I hope you found this video helpful in your decision of whether or not you want to actually pick this game up. I do know that this game kind of got a little bit of a bad rap immediately when it was released because it was very poorly optimized. and they have since already put out some crazy updates that have made it very, very playable. So we're still running into a little bit of slowdown and stuff, which is a little bit disappointing because my computer is quite powerful, but either way. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you would smack that like button, share, favorite, and subscribe to join Team Pixel. Sign on, stay epic, everybody.
Believe in yourself.